Good morning, Texoma. I'm Ashley Fitzwater. This morning, we're taking you inside the Wichita Falls ISD's $125 million school bond, all as voters prepare to head to the polls this Saturday for the final say. But many are still on the fence on how to vote. So this morning, we're sitting down with groups on both sides of the issue as they share why they feel voting yes or voting no is best for your children and this community. But first, we wanted to show you what's being proposed. The first thing is perhaps the most talked about. It's a $64 million new high school that will hold 10th through 12th graders and make Wichita Falls ISD a 2-high school district. With that, an additional $10 million will be poured into Hershey High School for renovations and improvements. Now, the bond would also fund a $2.3 million 9th grade center that would be housed at the current McNeil Junior High School. There's also a plan to spend $12 million on upgrading junior highs and turning Ryder High School into a junior high. Next is a $24.2 million CTE, or Early College Technology Center. It will be constructed from the ground up. That bond would also pour $8.5 million into the Memorial Stadium complex for renovations, while $4 million will be used for safety and security upgrades to all campuses. And we're starting this morning with a group that says it is okay to vote no come Saturday. We're talking about Community for a Better Bond. Joining me now is some of the committee members of that, and we have Mr. Craig Reynolds and also Charlie Gibson. We appreciate both of you being here with us this morning.
Thank you for having us today.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, we just kind of want to start with the reasons behind why this committee was formed and why you felt it was needed in our community.
You know, when the school board made the proposal for this bond, a group of parents began to discuss what was in the bond and the whole concept about the bond, and we decided that we just didn't really care for that particular concept, and more than likely we're going to oppose this bond. And the more we thought about it, we said, you know, we probably need to form a committee and try to see if we can come up with a better bond. And so we formed Community for a Better Bond. Essentially, there's so many different reasons why people oppose the bond. There are people that want or like a 3-high school model. There are people that like a 2-high school model, but not in the location where it's currently proposed. There's people who are behind urban development and revitalization of old neighborhoods. We have people that are on our committee that are interested in preservation and historical value of all our buildings here in Wichita Falls. And there's just numerous reasons. And so we said, well, we need to be a voice for all these different entities. Otherwise, you're going to have 6 different committees opposing the bond. So we decided we'd just have this one committee as kind of an umbrella for all the folks that are opposing the bond. And what we hope is that we'll be able to come up with a better bond that suits our students better, their parents better, and all of Wichita Falls.
One of the questions that seems to come up a lot is, what is the committee's plan for a better bond?
We've been listening to the community, and we've been out in the community. We've gone to the school board town hall meetings at Wichita Falls High School and at Hershey and at Ryder. And you know, we've been hearing what each of those different groups like or dislike about this particular bond issue. You know, and in hindsight, if the school board would have had those town hall meetings beforehand, the bond may have come out a little better and more suitable for everyone in town. You know, we've been listening at those town hall meetings and at home meetings and just to people on the street. And, you know, we're getting all of their ideas together. You know, the school board hired a consulting firm to come in, and they worked with a local architectural firm, and they came up with a master facility plan for the school district. And that plan said, stay with your 3-high school model. So that plan was then presented to a community team known as CFAT, and they studied it for several months, and they came up with a couple of 2 or 3 options that they presented to the school board. Their number one option was a 3-high school plan that wanted to build a new high school. But their lowest rated option was a 2-high school plan, and that's the one that the school board accepted or took on their own and molded it into a new plan, which merged two of our largest high schools and placed it at the furthest southwest portion of Wichita Falls. Now, once they proposed this bond, this is a legal document. It is out for a vote. There's nothing you can do to change that bond. And you either defeat it or you pass it. We can make as many submittals as we can, but it doesn't make a difference on this particular bond. But what we've been listening to from the public is a lot of new ideas, and if this bond's defeated, then we can go back to the school board and say, now we're ready to present these new ideas, see if we can come up with a bond that's best for everyone in Wichita Falls, the students and their parents, and everybody can be able to pass it.
Whenever it comes to why voters should vote no, one of the biggest reasons, one of the messages that you're wanting to get out there is because of some educational concerns whenever it comes to merging those two high schools. Is that correct, and what are those?
Ashley, there's a number of concerns that we have in putting these two schools together. You know, the Texas Education Agency and the U.S. Department of Education have done studies that show the larger the school, the poorer overall academic performance. And studies also show that lower socioeconomic students tend to do poor in a larger school. You know, and almost 2/3 of the students in the WFISD qualify for free lunches. You know, that's our school district. We're just concerned that about kids getting lost. You know, when you merge two schools into one and go from 3 high schools to 2, you're going to lose 1/3 of the opportunities. Instead of 3 debate teams or 3 drama clubs or 3 of everything, you're only going to have 2. And so, you know, the superintendent said it during the CFAT meetings, and studies show it. You know, when kids are involved, they stay in school. When they become disengaged, when they're not participating in things, then they either drop out or they become discipline problems and distract other kids from their studies, and that's just not good for the kids. You know, so on top of that, you know, when we hear about combining schools, we hear about efficiencies and attrition. Well, that means that we're going to lose jobs in the long run, and that's not good for Wichita Falls. You know, another thing that bothers us is, what are we getting? We don't know the specifics. You know, we're not sure where the CTE is going to be. We're not sure what programs are going to be offered. You know, if you don't know where something's going to be or what's going to be offered, how do you know what it's going to cost? Also, when the bond proposal first came out, you know, they showed a large campus with 2,640 students and Hershey at 850. Well, that adds up to 3,490 students. There's over 3,800 students in our high schools. You know, so over 300 kids are not going to get to go to one of those 2 schools. At one of the town hall meetings, I asked the school board members and the superintendent about that, and they said that they wouldn't get to go to one of the 2 schools. They'd have to go to the CTE. You know, they also wouldn't get to participate in the extracurricular activities. And you know, if you're one of those 3,800 kids and you want to go to one of those 2 schools, you might not get to, and that just bothers us. There's too many unanswered questions, you know, and we can do better and our kids deserve better.
We are not done talking about Community for a Better Bond. I know there's a lot of other points that you'd like to bring up. You'd like to share with Texhoma again about why you feel it's okay for them to say no on Saturday. We want to get to those, but Texhoma, we need to take a quick break first. Don't go anywhere, though. We're going to be right back as we continue our inside look this morning at the WFISD bond. Welcome back to Inside Texhoma. Once again, I am sitting down this morning with Community for a Better Bond. Now, just before the break, you had mentioned the fact of the location of the new school and how that was a bit of a concern. And I understand that along with the location is, of course, the concerns of traffic and busing whenever it comes to transporting those students. Can you explain a little bit more about the concerns there?
Certainly, Ashley. You know, the location of the school has been a popular topic all along during this bond proposal, and you know what we're asking the community to do is to take our students from the furthest eastern side of Wichita Falls and take them all the way across town to the furthest western side, and even the students in the central core of Wichita Falls are going to be moving all the way across town to the southwest portion of town. You know, there's going to be a lot of traffic, and there's going to be a lot of congestion just by looking at a 1,900 student new high school for 10th through 12th graders who can all drive, and also a 740 student 9th grade center that are going to have parents bringing all those kids there. At a minimum, you may be looking at a minimum 1,200 cars trying to get through that Southwest Parkway and Barnett Road intersection every morning. So there is going to be quite a bit of congestion. We have a lot of students right now who use bus transportation to get to school. We already have some from the east side being transported. We're going to add the Wichita Falls High School kids from our furthest east side. Then we have a new group, and that's the group that lives around Wichita Falls High School that walks to school right now. You know, they're going to have to get up earlier in the morning. They'll get home later in the afternoon. And, you know, just a lot of these kids need more time at home, more time at school, more study time. And one thing about it, when they get home, they can't participate in any extracurricular activities back at school. They usually don't have transportation back. We want everyone to realize that this particular bond affects a lot of people in Wichita Falls. It just doesn't affect you who are voting for yourself. It affects everyone in Wichita Falls, and that's why we're asking you, it's okay to vote no.
There's been a lot of talk about how it's going to affect the taxpayers and the homeowners.
The argument is that if we don't do it now, we lose the opportunity. And we are retiring some school bonds, which is a good thing. You know, if we do not approve a bond now, then the tax rate will go down. But retiring a bond is like paying off a note at the bank. You know, for a while, you know, until we decide what might be best for the city and the school district, we'll get some tax relief. Now, if in 6 months, when we decide to approve a bond that would have the things that we need and would address all the needs of all the students to the best for the city, we can pass a bond then, and to get back to the level we are now would be about $45 million, and then whatever the bond is over that, the tax rate would go by that amount, which is what the current proposal would do. So it's not that we lose the opportunity, it's just in the meantime the taxpayers get some relief.
Just from a personal standpoint, why are you going to vote no for this, and why do you feel that that's the best thing for not only this community, but for maybe your family?
Ashley, it's about the students, and it's about their opportunities. And if there are less opportunities, then that's just not good for the kids. And when your superintendent says build as small a school as you can afford to build, we can come up with a better plan.
Community for a Better Bond is pro-education, pro-teacher, pro-student, pro-opportunities for those students, and we're pro-Wichita Falls. I'm born and raised here in Wichita Falls. There's nothing more than I want to see as great things for our city. I just don't want us to make a $125 million mistake just to say we did something. You know, it could take years to repair a mistake. And I know in my heart, I just don't feel comfortable with this bond right now. And that's why our group has been able to say it's okay to vote no. Thank you, Ashley.
Well, thank you, and again, we appreciate you being here today, and we appreciate you giving us insight, of course, to Community for a Better Bond. I understand there's a Facebook page that folks can go to if they would like to learn more. We'll, of course, put that at the bottom of your screen. Also put that website there for you so you can check those out and learn much more about Community for a Better Bond, because I know there's just so much more we just did not have time to get to today. But again, we appreciate your time and appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Texoma, stick around. We are not done talking about the WFISD school bond proposal. We have much more after the break on Inside Texoma. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we're taking an inside look into the $125 million proposed bond. The voters are going to be heading to the polls on this Saturday, of course, to vote. We are sitting down now with Bond and Build 2014 to talk about why they feel you should vote yes come Saturday. So joining me now with the very latest is WFISD School Board member Kevin Goldstein, and also co-chair of Build a Bond 2014, Kerry Maroney. So thank you both for being here with us this morning.
Thank you for allowing us to be here.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time, and we want to jump right into this. And of course, why you think voters should vote yes.
First and foremost, this bond provides a golden opportunity for WFISD to provide enhanced opportunities for all of our students all across the district, all across socioeconomic boundaries that we have within the district. And in addition to that, it provides an opportunity for the taxpayers of Wichita Falls to help redirect some of our maintenance and operation funds as opposed to going in and maintaining some of our older buildings. Gives them an opportunity to construct new facilities. Probably not many people know, but we pay about $1 million a month to maintain and operate our old facilities. And in that regard, if we begin to move into additional new facilities, we're able to consolidate some of our facilities at the secondary level, which in addition to that will consolidate not only the high schools, but take us from 4 junior highs to 3 junior highs, give us an opportunity to consolidate some elementary schools, and then at the same time be able to save tax dollars for the community.
That's a lot of money a month that he's saying. As I understand, it's not just a recent decision, correct?
No, actually, September 2011, the board sat down. Dr. Kazanis was the superintendent at that time, and we brought in community leaders, media was there as well, staff, of course the school board, and we began discussing what can we do differently? What are we doing wrong in Wichita Falls that we can prepare our kids better for the 21st century? Primarily when you look at number one item is students and teachers are our 2 greatest assets that we need to look at. So when we start gathering the data, we look at things as far as how do we increase the number of kids that are going to college? How do we reduce the dropout rate among students? How do we make them workforce ready? How do we do those things to create a better environment for our students? And so when we got to that point, we started looking at the facility standpoint. And that's when you look at the bond and how it addresses that we came to the point of combining 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in the junior high model. We think that's an important time from teachers and parents and principals of where we need them to be. We created a freshman center where we can isolate them in a freshman center so the parents and students can understand exactly what's going to need to be going on in high school and then as they prepare for college and beyond. We also looked at the workforce side with the Career Technology Center. So when you look at that, we have not done a good job as far as our career tech. Even though we have Kerrigan here in town, we could do so much more better. So we talked about pharmaceutical techs. We talked about assistant engineering jobs, assistant architectural jobs, early college programs, along with all the other items that they have out there with HVAC, welding, nursing, all the other programs, culinary. We just wanted to create something different. We have to create something different. So that's what we came from when we started this whole program out.
The questions. I know that there's lots of questions whenever it comes to anything that's being presented before voters. What seems to be the number one question that you just keep hearing from people?
Number one question would be, why now? Or why can't we wait? We've got a water issue, for example. 2 answers to that, but the short answer to that is that it's time for additional and new facilities for our students, to give them opportunities that they currently don't have. They travel to various other parts of the state, and they say, why can't we have something like that in Wichita Falls? And we can, and I think this bond provides that. But in addition to that, we have a unique opportunity with our debt service rolling off. In August, we'll have about $3.2 million in debt service that'll roll off. And if in fact we can pass this bond, our current debt service and our current debt could fund about $45 million of this $125 million. So that's about 35% of the funding of this bond that we could actually get without raising 1 penny in taxes. And then obviously the remaining $80 million would be with additional taxes. Those additional taxes on a $100,000 home would cost about $10 a month in additional school tax. So it is a unique opportunity. We won't see this opportunity on debt service roll off again until around 2027.
What's the number one question you seem to be getting?
Probably here lately, the one is that the board totally ignored the MGT study that was completed that the district paid for, and total disregard that we didn't even look at the study. And personally, that was probably a little insulting to me that they would be saying that or expecting that. We went and engaged MGT, and they did a 565-page report, and now the district has a report that we can look at every facility that we have, and we know everything that's good with it, and we know a lot that's bad with it, right? So we appreciate then what the information that we have now, that we can, and future boards can use that to do planning as far as a facility planning study. From that MG report, there was a recommendation page. There was a couple pages of recommendations that were on there. What the board examined from that then is, and then started really then building what the bond is going to look like. And two components that really that the board took that everyone most likely needs to know is that we dedicated this money for this bond for secondary. We said we did the last bond for elementary, so everything elementary gets off the table. So if you look at the recommendation page, half of the things that are on there address elementary. We pushed that to phase one, or from phase 1 to phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and how that would work. The other is we look at renovation side. And the board decided that we really, for cost effective, for the money that was out there, that we could actually spend more money, a little bit more money, and build something new, something state-of-the-art for the world to see what Wichita Falls is all about. And then instead of building a regional skill center at Hershey, we wanted a state-of-the-art career technology center that we talked about earlier. So those are the different components. Did we take some of it? Yeah, we took some of it. But we decided where the direction was coming from, not because we hired MGT to tell us what to do. They gave us that good information, and then we involved the rest of the community to form the bond with CFAC.
And Ashley, I want to add to that. I just want you to know that the CFAC committee had exactly that same report, had all of the information that the Board of Trustees had. There was not one bit of information that I'm aware of that the Board of Trustees had that they didn't provide to the CFAC committee. And the CFAC committee was not in favor of a renovation project. There was always, in every one of the 3 plans that we submitted, there was at least one new high school. And the number one choice of the CFAC committee was to go from a 3 high school system down to a 2 high school system. There was concern about the cost of that, but that was really and truly their number one proposal. So fact of the matter is what the board saw from the MGT study, every one of the CFAC committee members had that same report and was able to study that. And our recommendations to the board, or concepts to the board, came after reviewing that MGT study along with other documents and phone survey and that type of thing. So.
Well, gentlemen, we just appreciate your time. I know there's so much more to get to, and honestly, we just don't have the time to do it. But Texoma, they have a list of frequently asked questions, much more. I know they just hit on 2 of them here, but you can find those all online. We'll put that right there at the bottom of your screen, the link you can go to. We are not done, though, talking to Bond and Build 2014, so stick around. We need a quick break. We'll be right back with much more. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we're taking an inside look at the WFISD's bond proposal. This Saturday, everyone will be heading to the polls, and once again, I am joined now by members of the Bond and Build 2014. We have Gonzalo Robles. He is here also with the Hispanic Coalition.
Correct.
So we appreciate you being here today. And Teresa Caves, co-chair of Bond and Build 2014. So again, thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Now, whenever you hear about the WFISD, and I know there's been previous Inside Texomas where we've talked about this before, and there's 65% of children who have economic disadvantages in this community, and you feel that that's an important thing to bring up because this could benefit those children.
Absolutely. 65% of students in the school district come from economically disadvantaged families. There is 3 things that we feel are addressing the needs of those students. 1, the 9th grade center. By having a 9th grade center, the district is addressing the dropout issues that occurred specifically within the minority students not only here, but in the state of Texas. 59% of minority students drop out of schools in the state of Texas, and most of them drop out in the 9th grade. So the district is going to be addressing their academic needs and the dropout issue as well. The second piece is the CTE. The CTE is not only going to allow all students to come career ready, but if they want, they can be college ready, because through the CTE, the early college program is going to be offered. This program is going to allow students, when they graduate, with up to 60 credits of college if they want. That's 2 years of college. So imagine how powerful that message. They can be career ready or college ready.
I'd like to just know from a personal standpoint why you feel that this is so important to pass in our community.
I've lived here for 30 years, and I've voted for every bond issue that's been here. We've, in 30 years, we've built 3 new schools, and that to me is not progress. I recruited physicians in this town for 14 years, and the first thing that they wanted to look at was schools. Now, did my kids get a great education? I have 3 kids graduated from this school district, all college educated, 2 of them with advanced degrees. I now have 2 grandchildren in these schools, but they're at West Foundation. They're at a new school. So I'm doing it because I love kids, and education is the key to success.
Indeed, education is the key to success. I have been in education for over 19 years. I have traveled to over 70 communities in the state of Texas talking about the importance of post-secondary education within the Hispanic community. And I feel that this bond will give the city of Wichita Falls the best opportunities for all the students to have great facilities and great programs.
Well, I want to thank you again for allowing us to be here and tell our story, because we've told our story to over 70 civic groups and in homes and at the Chamber of Commerce annual meeting. So it's important to let everyone know that we've been endorsed by the Chamber of Commerce, by the Times Record News, by the Hispanic Coalition, supported by the citizens, the concerned citizens. They were the group that wanted to build just 1 high school. So they still are, they've supported us, as well as the Valia. So, you know, we contend that it is okay to vote no, but it's best to vote yes. It's best to vote yes on May 10th for kids, for Wichita Falls, and for progress.
All right, we appreciate you both being here with us this morning. And of course, if you'd like more information, you can just check out their website. It's at the bottom of your screen. Texoma, we also want to thank you for joining us this morning. It's in your hands now. Remember, you can vote early tomorrow and Tuesday, and then of course on Election Day. That's this Saturday, May 10th, and keep it on 6. We have a full staff scheduled to bring you team coverage at 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock Saturday night as those numbers start pouring in. Have a great day, Texoma. Be sure to join us again next Sunday as we take another look inside Texoma.